All right. I know I'm coming on at an odd time, but I've been testing my equipment. I've been working on my software, and I think I've got it up where we're on the regular studio. So this morning, I'm doing this primarily as a test, but also I figure, well, what can I do? I mean, I don't want to just do a test, so I decided to make this a question and answer period. So I'm not going to be, spouting off a lot today. Welcome as you come in. Today is the 20th of October, 2020. I'm Roy Potter, and I know I'm starting before 7. Like I said, this is more a test than anything else, but if you all want to join in, it's great. Thanks for being here. It looks like everything's running, as we always do. If everything sounds okay, good morning, Nancy. Good morning. And good morning, everybody else. If you could let me know if the sound and the picture are okay, I would just really appreciate it. This has been a nightmare trying to, great, 5x5. Thanks, Off Grid Prepper. And Betsy Dahmers, I guess that's how you say your name. Yeah, this has been crazy what happened. They've also taken down one of my email accounts. So, I guess it really is. I must have said something on one of those email accounts and kind of messed up. Nancy, before I forget, thank you for telling me. I have a special request of you. You don't have, there's no obligation, but I'm going to text you later this morning and ask you a question about something if you would like to do or not. So just plan on looking for that. It'll come on a text, not a DM or anything else like that. It'll be on your texts, okay? Just to give you a heads up, All right, so thank you so much. So yes, I have my caramel coffee this morning, and I have my Second Amendment cup because we are there, ladies and gentlemen. We are there. If you saw Nancy's video yesterday, all of this other nonsense about who's going to win the election and all that doesn't make any difference, because no matter who wins it, we're in trouble. We are the enemy to the elites and to the governments. The people are the enemies. The people are the enemy. CNN, remember Wolf Blitzer and those guys said, Jim Acosta, we're not the enemies of the people. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, everything has proven that they are. Of course, our take on it here has been very much different than an either or. Rather than saying that Trump and, just that the elites are fighting with each other, which they are, we do recognize that all of the actions that they're taking are actually aimed at taking us down and destroying our lives and the lives of many, many billions of innocent people on the world. In the name of Agenda 21, in the name of population control, all of those things, and they disguise it with the actions that they're doing now with this COVID. And a real telltale date is coming up. October 25th is when the national emergency of Donald Trump expires, and we're going to see what he does with that. That'll tell us a lot about where he really is. But I want to hasten to add that it's not going to matter. They're going ahead with their program, and as Nancy said, you better get ready. You better get prepared as best you can. This is not going to be easy. So whatever you can do to get ready, I'm not going to dictate what those are today. I will open up by saying that Barr has shown his true colors. The FBI, who I've been calling out for years, has again showed its true colors. The DOD, especially the generals like McChrystal that I've been calling out for years, is now obvious what they're like. And it's not just that they're against Donald Trump. Even if they were, the end result is to take down liberty, Christianity, and to put us in these forced labor camps if we're not willing to submit to their insistence that we think a certain way. This was all talked about by Weather Underground and Bill Ayers and the communists and all of that back in the 60s and 70s. We've known about it. And unfortunately, nobody in the government took care of the problem. What they did was they went along with it. And the FBI has been the leftists' secret police organization. And I can attest to that from first hand, not second or third hand, but first hand experience. Ray should be arrested today for obstruction of justice. They're hiding behind this thing that, this is another problem with the Russians. This is Russian disinformation. I'm sorry, Ray, this needs to be taken out of your hands, and you need to be arrested, and so does William Barr at this point. But Trump won't. He's pretending to have this little fight with Fauci again. As a matter of fact, Crow's Play, one, if you're on here, I don't know if you are, but you asked me a question yesterday about what that number 350 meant when Trump was talking about Fauci. I don't know. It's probably an internal code of some sort, but you're right, it's a code. I'm not sure what the code is, but I looked it up at least just quickly using some Kabbalah and Gematria and Tarikon, and it looks like to me that he's calling Fauci a fortune and possibly a devourer, which is also what Trump is. So he may have been doing both. But anyway, that's just a little bit of information for everybody else. And we'll just go ahead. I'm going to go right to chat here. And I'm just glad I got the system up and running. This has been, man, I couldn't believe it. And then, like I said, one of my email accounts is gone. One of the ones that I do a lot of work on. So they're coming for us. There's no doubt about it. Now, people might ask, well, Roy, why did they leave you on YouTube? Why did they leave you on Twitter? Well, they've shadow banned me. They've played with my numbers. They've interfered with transmissions and things like that. But I'm going to say it again. The big reason is because you got to remember, I was part of the IC and the military-industrial complex. Not at any high level, no. I was a lackluster officer as far as that goes, but I had contacts. I had experiences. I went and I saw things. I worked for them. I gathered information. Okay? So they want to know what I'm thinking. They want to know what I'm putting out there. It's very simple. That's why I haven't been taken down yet. That's why I haven't had these problems. A lot of other people have, because I certainly don't guard my language. I mean, I don't expose any classified information, not really. So they can't get me on that, but they probably wouldn't anyway, even if I did, because they want to say, well, what's this Potter guy up to? He's a problem. We got to keep an eye on him. He could cause us some grief, and that's true. And you might also ask, for those of you who've been following it, and this is the only time I'm going to mention it today, but just to let you know it's coming, I've given Jeffrey Doherty plenty of times now to basically put a millstone around his neck and cast himself into the sea. So I'm not going to allow him after this morning when I get done here, I'm not going to allow him to continue to disrupt my Twitter feed. And if he's on here, he's going to be gone from here too. So I just thought I'd let you know he will be blocked as of today. But I wanted to make sure that what happened got out there, and his accusations against me they don't concern me. They're obviously idiocy, and I just wanted him to make a fool of himself, and give him plenty of time, like I said, to back off a little bit, but he won't, so he's going to be out of here. So I'm going to get rid of him off my Twitter line, just so you know. I'm going to block him today, so you all won't have to put up with his nonsense. Okay, let's see if we've got some questions here that we want to answer. Did you listen to that parrot guy? This is from Emergency Exit. Hi, Emergency Exit. How you doing? On his Bin Laden story, was that a disinfo op to counter the Biden story? Well, this is a time of confusion. I think we all probably have a slightly different take on what happens there, but it was real obvious when he came up. I mean, if you're an ex-CIA agent and you're spilling information, you're either doing it because the agency wants you to, or they're going to kill you. Okay, there's no in between. And that's why I said it, the situation with Anna Kate looked a lot like the Millie Weaver situation. With those same people that were spilling information. You're either working for them or they're going to shut you up and shut you down. Millie had that little arrest that was due to a domestic violence situation of sorts. I mean, the whole thing was just a convoluted mess. But I recognize the Anna Kate thing. Nothing against Anna Kate, okay? I want you to understand that. And really nothing against Millie Weaver, although I sometimes wonder about her motives because she did kind of do some kind of nasty things. But Anna Kate is new to it. Like I brought up the other day, one of the a person I respect quite highly on Twitter, who is very good at giving out information, couldn't just address Anna Kate's lack of experience or contacts or any of that. She had to put up a picture of her in a rather provocative pose to demean her with that, and I thought that was a cheap shot, frankly. I really did. You know, if our past is constantly going to be brought up when we're trying to improve ourselves, then what's the point? So I was very upset that that happened, but at the same time, I know what this person was trying to do. They were trying to show that she's really not capable of doing this, so she's being used, and that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And the unfortunate thing is that the way they're using her, they're turning around and they're using the Gold Star families that lost their loved ones, and that's bad. So that's how I would look at it. A lot of the information was information that was already public information. There really wasn't anything there that, just like the Millie Weaver thing, not really any startling discoveries, not really. And a twist on the story. Now you'll get people that'll argue, see, the Benghazi thing is what really matters, actually, in my mind. Not that the Extortion 17 doesn't as well, but that's not as critical as the Benghazi thing. Okay, so take the talk off of Benghazi to take it off of all this new stuff that's coming out now. Yes, and as you know, that information on China, we told you that was coming, and I'm giving credit to a person who sent that information to me, although I don't think they'd want me to say who it is. I'm not certain, but I'm just taking it from that point. I did not dig that up. Somebody sent it to me, and I went, whoa, and I saw how it fit in. Okay, let's see what we got here. 350 equals 35 JFK. Like I said, Robin Feynman, it's very possible. I don't think that's it, because how would that fit in with Fauci? I don't think so. But it doesn't hurt to investigate. This is more than likely an internal code that we'll never know. Okay, I just took a shot at it for Crow's Play 1 yesterday, just from that. I was actually surprised at how it turned out. I could have gone into a lot more depth. I could have looked up different words that equal 350. I could have gone to a number of places with it. But unless you're on the inside, you're really not going to know, and I'm not going to waste my time for it, because I know that it's all against us. It doesn't matter. The inner fightings between these groups doesn't mean a thing. For one, it's a show. They all are in on it, and even if they aren't, the end target is us. So it really doesn't matter. Australian car guys, Chevy debate, 5 contacts, 5 different agencies, wrong name, Federal Archive, EMP proof. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Tessa. I'm sorry. That went over my head. Okay. Yeah, there's going to be eternal extrapolation. There's going to be tons of problems with the voting. Tons of problems. But again, it's not going to matter. I mean, even if Trump didn't make it in, or even if he does, as Nancy pointed out yesterday, they've got their playbook. They're going with it. I read it to you out of Genesis 47. We're right in that playbook, and they justify what they're doing because they consider you to be beasts of the field. They consider you to be non-human, and they're going to make sure you aren't human anymore by injecting you with these DNA-altering mRNA solutions. That's what this is about. This is to destroy the image of God on the earth. That's exactly what it is. And we've made a mess of the image of God already. We don't need their help to do it, but they're just going to make sure they complete the process. So we have to pray to God to intervene here, because this is the most serious time in human history right now. We've had horrible wars that have destroyed hundreds of millions of people, democides by states, nations, etc. All this stuff that has been horrible. And very horrible, and I wet my pillow at night with my tears, often over these things. But what's happening now is an attack on our very humanity, an attack on the very substance, the actual spirit of what we are. And that's why this is so bad. And it will end up in horrible things too. Millions and millions and maybe billions of people perishing. And that's horrible. I just you can say, well, they're going to a better place. Well, you know, that doesn't excuse the suffering and everything in between. And if you've ever lost a loved one, I'll tell you what, if ever you've lost a loved one and somebody comes up and tells you they're in a better place, you don't like that. You don't like that. I don't care how much faith you have in God. You don't like that. That's painful. I'm not saying that people shouldn't say it, because they're saying it from the goodness of their heart. But that doesn't fix anything. Doesn't fix anything. Yeah, oh, I know that Anna 411, yeah, Bush Jr. already said a pandemic lasts about 1.5 years. Well, this isn't even a pandemic. This doesn't match up. And there are doctors that are saying, and even lay people like ourselves, I have a little bit of medical background, lay people like myself, we can look at it, we say, this is no pandemic. There isn't any way it's a pandemic. It's just a play. The problem is you got the populations that have been dumbed down for so long, they don't have the intelligence nor the fortitude to look at this and say, this is baloney, I'm not complying. I am amazed. It's getting worse. People, there are more. I thought that by now, at least in this section of the country, people would just start ignoring this thing, but they're not. I see more and more people doing it when they're outside, when they're exercising, in their cars, in their homes. I've seen people in their homes doing it, in their yards. I don't think we're winning. I don't. I really don't. I saw Nancy the other day, as a matter of fact. I think it was on Twitter, Nancy. You said, you almost feel like maybe the culling is necessary because of all these stupid people. I mean, you can't help them anyway, and they're going to take us down with them. Yeah, it's very true. Okay, buffering anyone? No, it could be. I haven't noticed it here, but that doesn't mean it isn't happening. What I do is I kind of keep this up to watch my meters, like I should right now, and make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to. I'm mostly concerned about the microphone. I hope it's not overmodulating. It shouldn't be. But anyway, okay. Smiley face. Yeah, that's good. Okay, I am a beast in the field. Now what? Yeah. Well, they'll kill you. I would like to give you a whole course on that, but I've kind of bent that way. I've explained it for a long time in my religion series and other things. What's really going on? The people that Israel was taken over. The Israelite tradition. The Israelites were basically destroyed in 70 A.D. The Jews, before that with the Assyrians, they came in and they removed the 10 northern tribes, and they were scattered around the world. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi were left in Jerusalem area in Judea, and they were taken over eventually. Remember, I told you the other day there was John Hyrcanus, one of the Maccabees. There was a Maccabean dynasty that lasted for about 100 years, and John Hyrcanus forced Edomite Arabs to convert to Judaism. Well, that's not a true conversion. And then they paid for it because the Herodians took over the throne, which is totally illegitimate, and they built an illegitimate temple. So the whole story, this is going to get some Christians upset, but the whole story around the Herodian temple and Jesus saying that it was my Father's house, I don't think he really felt like that was his Father's house. It was what the people looked at it as, and that they would be willing to do that to his Father's house if it were. But it wasn't his Father's house. Historically, spiritually, scripturally, there's no way that Herod's temple could be a temple that God would honor. Okay, there just isn't. So there are all kinds of problems with the interpretations of that time. But at any rate, so these Edomite Arabs took over Judaism, and then after the destruction of the temple in 70 A.D., most of the true Jews that were still left were killed off, or they fled. A lot of them became the Gnostics in Egypt because they were so upset that God didn't save them, and then they came out with some really odd stuff. Some of it's very good. A lot of people like the Book of Enoch, for instance. It was quoted, or it was attributed that Jesus quoted it, and I'm certain that he did, just like the Book of Jasher and some others. But the Book of Enoch was altered by the Gnostics as well. So there's a whole lot of difficulties in looking at these ancient texts. That's why I say that the truth is within you. What you find is, as long as you're a decent person and you try to do what's right and seek the Spirit of God, That light is within you. You don't need to go looking for it elsewhere. If it's not in here, you're not going to find it out there. Okay, so you've got to work on yourself. And I balance that with my understanding of the first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah. Now, there's some horrible things in the Torah. As a matter of fact, I've often wondered, and a lot of people have done the same thing, God is supposed to be this loving God, and there are people who say, well, the God of the Old Testament is different than the God of the New. I'm not going to get into that theological argument now because I don't believe that's true. But at any rate, and it takes too much time to explain, like somebody was talking about the difference between Elohim and God and Lord God. And it has to do with the state of the creation at the moment. That's what it's about. It has nothing to do with somebody else. Anyway, it gets kind of complicated. But at any rate, so we've been wondering why God would say, like, destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, or why they were told to go in and destroy, every man, woman, and beast and child over some age, and to kill every woman that had known man. And I think, oh my gosh, that's just horrible. Why would that happen? Well, a good example of that came out on the town hall with Joe Biden. This lady stood up. She looked, okay, but I knew something bad was coming. And her thing was, I have a transgender child. He wants to have his thing cut off. He wants to. And Joe Biden came out and said, yeah, he should have a right to do that. That mother, I could get thrown off YouTube for this. I'm trying. That mother, I could see why God would say she's got to go away. When the development of children is influenced to that evil of an extent by a woman like that, I could see why God would say there's no other way to fix this. We got to get rid of her. Honestly, I'm not going to make that decision. But I can see where that would come from, especially back in the days when Israel was taking over the land of Canaan again. And if you've studied the information on the Nephilim and that kind of stuff, you can understand where that bloodline was in there. And they were doing the things that this woman was doing to her kids. So those types of things come in, and then you got to look up what's happening. Now, you guys are having a good conversation with each other. Great. Apparently there's something about Turner's history. I don't know who you're talking about, Nancy, but that looks interesting. Okay. Yeah, the sons of Cain are ruling the earth. The Nephilim bloodline was in, it took over the one aspect of the Ishmaelite line, and then it got, after the destruction of the temple in 70 AD, it basically did away. There were still, by the way, a lot of people think that all of the northern tribes were dissipated when the Assyrians came in. Well, no, like in any war, there are a few that are left behind, and there's some explanations about that, about who the Samaritans were, the Good Samaritan, who lived in the land of Ephraim, basically. There were still full-blooded Ephraimites that were left in there, just like there were full-blooded people from the other tribes. But actually, the genealogy of those people had been lost since the Babylonian captivity. So a lot of people, for instance, who said they were descendants of David, just said they were. They didn't have any proof of it. All of their genealogy had been lost. They had word of mouth. Word of mouth was really how things traveled in those days. That's really where the Torah came from. It was not written down, actually, originally. It was word of mouth, and then it was put into words later. But at any rate, but as hard as they would try to transmit the good information, there's always somebody that's going to mess it up, right? So, especially in the genealogy, the Maccabees, for instance, taking the throne of Judah, the Davidic throne, they weren't eligible for that. They won it because of their military exploits, but they weren't really descended from Judah. There's no way for them to tell, and that's the way it is today. But that'll all be set straight. In my personal system of spirituality, for instance, I think all of these family lines will be set straight. That's one of the things that God will do, because he said it in Malachi, I will turn the hearts of the fathers to the children to the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. He's going to put all this in order. That's the way I believe. And how does he put it in order? Just show it. Which is another reason why they're having you wear the mask. They're trying to keep you from recognizing your kin. This is all a very evil, evil thing that's happening. Am I teaching the oral Torah? No, absolutely not, Pamela Burnham. I do not. Jesus said, so it is written. It is written thus. It is written thus. It is written thus. No, I don't touch the oral tradition other than I'm aware of it. I know that's where the Talmud came from. I know that's where the Mishnah is a commentary on the oral tradition. I understand all that, but no, I don't deal in the oral tradition. I understand that secrets were passed mouth to ear. Jesus did that to his own disciples. But those are things that more or less polish, refine the understandings you should already have from the written word. So no, I don't teach the oral tradition. No, I don't. I'm aware of it. Look up Hal Turner's show. That's where the document story originated. Oh, okay, Hal Turner. I've always had a problem with Hal Turner. He wrote the late great Planet Earth, right, Nancy? That's the one, Hal Turner. He's been a Christian teacher for, since I was a kid. And actually, the things he taught disturbed me because it went against what I knew could not be true. God doesn't create something for nothing. He didn't create us the way we are for nothing to take that away from us. That's not. I don't believe that. So I've had a problem. Oh, he's full of shit. Oh, not that Hal Turner. Oh, okay. I've probably got the wrong guy. Anyway, okay, I don't know who you're talking about, I guess. The one that I had a problem. Hal Lindsey, that's who I'm thinking of. You're right. Hal Lindsey, thank you, Ken Schufter. Okay, so I don't know who Hal Turner is. Okay, sorry, Nancy, I didn't mean to muddy the waters there. Yeah, Hal Lindsey, that's right. That shows how much I follow Hal Lindsey. Like I said, I read his late great Planet Earth, and I went, what? So, no, I couldn't go with that. Yeah, Hal Lindsey. Thanks for correcting me. Oh, that Hal Turner. Oh, that's right, the FBI informant. Yes. How did that slip by me? I guess because I was on a spiritual discussion, and I thought that's where we were going. You guys are ahead of me here. No, Hal Turner, no. No, I don't pay any attention to him whatsoever, either, Nancy, none whatsoever. When he first came out and started talking about things, then I started looking and I said, nah, he's made an agreement to be a disinfo agent, so I have not used him at all. As a matter of fact, when he comes across, my people quote him on my Twitter line or send me a video where he's behind it in one way or another, yeah, he never sources anything, and I could just tell. It's like with a lot of other people that are out there. And the way it is now, it's really a pretty easy thing to figure out if you think about it. If somebody's going to tell you that Trump is a good guy, beware of them. Okay? I mean, we all know that the Democrats are bad and the leftists, but these people that are pushing Trump as being some kind of great guy, look what they're doing in Israel. They've gone forward. He's the prince, the Davidic king. I mean, all sorts of stuff is happening there. You know, he made the Christ statement the other day, which, by the way, John Lennon did as well. I'm sure that Nancy, being a music aficionado, she'll know that John Lennon was one who said, they were asked about their popularity, and he says, well, we're more popular than Christ. Well, Trump didn't take it quite that far, but he did make a comparison, which he shouldn't. And that time when he looked up and he says, I'm the chosen one, everybody thinks that he's joking. Well, I've come to the conclusion he's not joking at all. He's damn dead serious. And he's proving it now. He's now putting all of his enemies away, right? No one can make war with him. And that's why I say the wicked will destroy the wicked. Okay, that's exactly what's happening right now. Do I like the Democrats? Hell no. Do I like Joe Biden and his son Hunter? Hell no. They're pedophilia. I mean, you can watch Joe doing his pedophilia on any day of the week on TV, right? Some aspect of it. And no, pedophilia, I fought against pedophilia. I've told the story. I got accused of trying to protect these damn pedophiles. And that's not the case at all. The problem is, you notice that this attack on Joe Biden was given to Trump by the New World Order. Biden is a false, let's see, how can I put this? I'm not sure of even what the term would be. They're not serious about Biden getting into office. It's to push Democrats to Trump. the whole world will wonder after the beast. Isn't that what's happening? Not saying that the Bidens are good, they're not. But if you think that if Trump was so much against pedophilia and against abortion and all these things, you notice he's bringing up these same 2016 campaign points. Oh, now he's talking about he's going to get this, where your CCW is good across the country. No, he's not. That's not going to happen. If anything, they're going to start clamping down on your gun rights very shortly. So it's all nonsense. His going after pedophiles has actually been pretty anemic. I hear people say, look at all the pedophiles and the human trafficking rings he's taking down. I told you before, these, if they're even true, if they are true, they're low hanging fruit. They're some of the low suppliers. I'm not saying it isn't good to save the kids. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are a lot more that they're protecting there are a lot more pedophiles that they're protecting so that they continue with their currency of human trafficking, and that's how they pay each other. Kids are being slaughtered. I pointed out a long time ago, I forget who brought it out. I think it was on Twitter. They were starting to talk about, and I guess some other people talked about it, I'm sure, that there are whole communities of these Satanists, these Luciferians, that women bear children for the very purpose of either sacrificing them or for grooming them to become part of the political and corporate establishment, and even religious establishments. Look at Bergoglio. I think that's how you say his name, the current pope. So they're destroying children's lives that nobody would even know how to save. And I've pointed out, I've actually named some of those communities in the past. I won't do it today. But anyway, that's enough on that. Amado Leon, yeah, Romney is a Mormon in name only. Well, actually, if you knew the real history of the Mormons, whoa, no, they don't believe Satan is Jesus. No, that's not it. I remember when I was taking my Hebrew classes, the Hebrew instructor, the rabbi, said that Mormons worship Moloch. No, they don't worship Moloch. That's an exaggeration. At least the run-of-the-mill church doesn't. The problem is that the leaders of that church are by and large corrupt, just like they are in any other large organization, and many of them are Luciferians, and they altered the Masonic rituals so that they could have their own inside secrecy. But I'm not defending the Mormons. I'm just saying that the lay Mormon people, just like the lay Catholic people, a lot of them do have the Spirit of Christ. The mistake they make is when they put the man above God himself. And in the Mormon church, as a matter of fact, I know this firsthand as well, they'll ask you if God comes, and you know it's God, there's no question it is. If God comes and tells you one thing and the prophet tells you the opposite, who do you follow? And if you say God, they'll discipline you for it. And I've seen that happen, sometimes even excommunicate you. So they expect you to give undying devotion and loyalty to the prophet, seer, and revelator of the church, the president of the church, even if God tells you otherwise. That's a cult. That's the pure definition of a cult. Yeah, he is going to bankrupt the country, Stephanie. He already has. What are you talking about? He was groomed for this. He was groomed to appear as a savior, an angel of light, and to take down the country. It's obvious. You don't do what he did back in March. Well, you don't do what he's done the whole time anyway. He brought in swamp creatures to take care of his administration. He didn't get rid of anybody. Very few, really. Some of the good ones, like Rich Higgins, he had thrown out. I mean, people say, well, he didn't know about that. It wasn't his decision. Somebody else said. He's the commander-in-chief. Okay, he's the president. The buck stops at his desk. Once he found out that Higgins has been thrown out, he should have gone to McMaster and said, you bring that man back here right now, reinstate him, and you're out of here, son of a bitch. So don't tell me that he can't control the situation. No, it's going just like he wants. He wants it to be total chaos. He wants to pretend like he's helpless while he does these really nasty things to you, and warp speed is on track. And they're building right now, if you've been watching it, they're building these detention camps in not just Canada, but here in the United States. There's one down not very far from Phoenix that I saw a few years ago. It's not a prison system. It's definitely for something else. The way it's set up, I could tell. And the same thing, there's another facility up by it's across the street from one of the Nevada state penitentiaries. I think it's north of Vegas on 93, I think is what it is. There's one there too. And there's some others around that I've seen, or possible. There's one out on Tooele Army Depot property itself. It's disguised as a county facility, but it's not, I'm pretty sure. I haven't been out there to double check lately, but I knew somebody who worked on it, and they said there were some really odd things about it that didn't look like a real detention facility, like, a jail type thing. It's not like that, and I think they're right. Yeah, no, they don't even need the chips now. The chips are just a symbol of submission, like the masks are. They don't need the 5G. We're all impregnated with nanotech. We're walking antennas at this point. The phones they could probably even get rid of before too long if they needed to. They've got our biometrics already. The only thing that they want to do now, because the nanotech, I guess, doesn't have the capability of changing our DNA, is they want to get that shot of Gates and Trump in us. And I keep hearing people say, well, Trump's coming out with a lesser vaccine. Hey, I don't want any vaccine, right? You don't own me, right? They're gonna say otherwise. Yeah, John Curtis, the symbol of submission is the mask. It absolutely is. And again, it's also to hide the face of God, to hide the image of God and the speech of God. Think about how that muffles your speech. There are a lot of things about it. Okay. Well, Walter Veller, I got to talk to you, Walter. I'm going to ask you here if I see it. You might have to DM me and tell me. Where are you? Yeah, there you are, Walter. And I've never really known how to say your name. Villa Radsky III, I think is how you say your name. Listen, I got your DM with the song that you did on the guitar. Very, very nice. I want to thank you for that. I want to ask you if I can put that out on Twitter, if I can tweet that out for everybody, because I think you just did a very fine job. If you would permit me to do that. So just, if I don't see you on here, just send me a DM saying yay or nay, okay? What he did was he made a song to honor a lot of us that are out here on the front lines, and that means you all too. That's why I think it would be nice to go ahead and put that out. So thank you, Walter. So just let me know. Thank you. Yeah, just let me know if it's okay to put it out there, okay? Sure? Okay, good. I'll do it today. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. How long have we been going here? Like I said, okay, almost 40 minutes. I just wanted this to be a test session. Nancy will find out later why. And hint. And also because I haven't used this studio setup with my computer at all. I tried, what was it, about a week ago or so, and then I ended up having to go back to my phone because they totally obliterated my the software for my studio here, the OBS. So I had to go in and do some real work on it. Go to FEMA's website, so they have the center listed. Yeah, I'm sure they do. Thank you for saying that. Nancy, I'll tell you what, I think she spends 20 hours a day researching. When she's not uploading, when she's not actually recording, she's researching, she's getting sources. She always puts the sources for her work in the, if it's not in the video itself, it's on the link to her blog site. Anyway, everything she does is sourced. So Nancy, I don't know how you keep it up like that. It's amazing. I can't do that. Actually, I refuse to do that. So without somebody like Nancy, a lot of us wouldn't know a lot of the things that are going on. Because Dan Bongino's not going to talk about it. Dan Bongino's going to be out there waving the flag for Trump. And I understand. Let me say this. I understand the idea of intermediate objectives when you're trying to get to a final objective. So I've seen people say, well, we need to get Trump in there because Biden will be immediate. It'll go downhill right away. So just getting Trump in there will slow things down. So that's kind of like when the military is going forward, and there's a hill here and has a small machine gun nest on it, but it's not the final objective. Like let's say a command post on a hilltop somewhere, something like that. You got to take out that. You have to do one of two things. You have to either go around that machine gun nest, and sometimes that's what you do, or you might take it out as an intermediate objective. In other words, getting Trump in might be an intermediate objective to keeping Biden out and to buy a little more time. I understand the tactic. I'm just saying that the people that are saying that are fooling themselves at this point. That's all I'm saying. I will never give the lesser of two evils a vote. I just won't do it anymore. I'm out of that. Yeah, Motto, that's right. The Mormons believe Jesus Christ, and the only difference in Mormons is they have the Book of Mormon. I realize that, and I've studied all that myself. Joseph Smith actually belonged to a Masonic lodge. He did. A lot of the things that came out, and a lot of the mid 1800s, early 1800s plans that came out about the future of the United States, Joseph Smith let out. That's really why they killed him, because he was revealing what their plans were in the future. These were Masonic plans. A lot of the things that he talked about, whether you like him or not, doesn't matter. Or believe a story. A lot of what he said was not history. Like the Book of Mormon. And Mormons are going to hate me for saying this, but it really wasn't history. It was a metaphor for what was coming, and we're seeing it now. Trump is making people think. Then why? Well, I don't know about that. If unfortunately, what's happening is that Trump has opened up the fight between, he's allowed this chaos to occur, which is not a bad thing. Like I mentioned to somebody on Twitter the other day, God uses evil men for good purposes, right? Like the Assyrian king, coming in and disciplining Israel for worshiping false gods, that kind of thing. He'll use evil men to discipline his children, and I understand that. But Trump's not doing it for your sake. That's all I'm trying to say. That he's not doing it for your sake. He's doing it for his own power. You got to understand that. And if you give him too much credit, you're gonna be hooked by it, and you're gonna be doing what all these other people are doing, and basically he's practically worshipped right now in Israel. Do you realize that? And amongst the evangelicals here, look at the crowds he brings in. Who's calling him on the carpet? Not Dan Bongino, not Lou Dobbs, not Sean Hannity, not Rush Limbaugh. Not even Alex Jones. I heard Alex the other day kind of come down on him. He goes down that road a little bit and then makes a U-turn and backs it off a little bit. Not good. John Rambo says, well, Trump's making me think I'm going to get sick. I was his biggest fan. Yeah, that's right, Walter Baltzley. Trump is changing money for power. Well, he's taking our money and he's giving it to the Federal Reserve, corporations, and throwing out a little incentive to go along with it. This stimulus stuff that he's giving the people. It's trading a bowl of porridge for your liberty, for your birthright. And he's tricked everybody into it. Again, go back and read Genesis 47, and you'll see exactly what's happening. It's the exact same thing that Trump is doing right now. As I explained in the video the other day, when Joseph of Egypt did that, he guaranteed the enslavement of his own people, the Israelites, as soon as he left power. Because he set the system up for their enslavement, even though it was technically against the Egyptians, who were who? The beasts of the field. Not entirely true. A lot of the Egyptians, actually the northern kingdom, were ruled by the Hyksos, which were Hebraic. They had Hebraic genealogy. It was the southern kingdom that was the problem. And so, at any rate, you have to kind of look at the history of this whole thing. But again, Joseph set up the system. He brought his family. He brought come to Goshen, right? Come to Goshen, which is where Heliopolis was, the city of On, the city of light. Heliopolis was the Greek name, city of light. On was the Egyptian name, city of light. Then the Hebrews that were there actually built the temple in Goshen, in Heliopolis, in On, and it was actually a functioning temple by the right priesthood, even when King Herod's temple was not. Just for your information. So a lot of things happen there. But anyway, getting back to the original story, and then they set up the city in Judea called Beth Shemesh, which is the Hebraic form of Heliopolis and the Egyptian On. So Beth Shemesh, Heliopolis, and On all mean the same thing. So at any rate, Joseph brought his family there, supposedly to protect them from the famine. But how did he feed them? From the stolen goods he took from the Egyptians. You see how this all plays out. Unfortunately for Joseph and his clan, when he went out of power, the Egyptians turned around and then enslaved the Israelites and made them do what Joseph had been making them do all those years. Did you ever think about that? Same thing's happening now, and Trump thinks that he's legitimate. Trump believes that he is Joseph. And I've talked about why he can't be the real Mashiach ben Joseph, why he can't be, but that is the spot that he is playing out. In fact, the Jews think that that's what he's doing, a lot of them. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't mean it's true. The real Mashiach ben Joseph, as I explained in my Crimson Thread book, was crucified 2,000 years ago by Pilate. We're looking for the Mashiach ben David now, the Davidic king, the real one. But it isn't going to be these things that Trump's doing. By their fruits you shall know them. And that's where we have to keep it. Yeah, Joseph screwed the Egyptians big time, and Trump is doing it to you now, under the pretense that he's saving us from this COVID and from his lockdowns. This was all designed, and he went right along with it. He didn't kick back, and he pretends to now. Oh, that Fauci guy, yeah, right. Why didn't he fire him? Why didn't he fire Birx? Why isn't he listening to Atlas? His own White House, Dr. Atlas, is saying that masks don't work and that this whole thing is baloney. Well, why isn't he pushing him onto the task force instead of keeping Fauci and Birx there? Trump, why isn't he pushing Atlases out there? And then, of course, as I put out on Twitter and here a few days ago, and then Nancy covered it as well, was a situation with the White House memo to the governor of Tennessee saying, you've got to lock down the state again. You've got to do these mask restrictions and enforce it. In some places with fines. That was a memo that went to Montana, I believe. Trump is two-faced. What he says to you to your face and what he does behind the scenes are entirely different. He does lie to you. He lies by omission and commission. So here he has his entire administration in chaos and confusion on purpose. Why? It gives him plausible deniability. I didn't tell them to do that. They're not paying attention to my orders. I'm so abused. And Jan Bongino goes along with it. Rush Limbaugh goes along with it. Etc., etc., etc. They're going to lose everything. I don't know how we'd fight it anyway. because the people won't wake up in mass. They really won't. I mean, they say they are. You know, you got the Q movement that supposedly has awakened a lot of people. It hasn't. It's diverted them, is really what it's done. It's kept them from acting. And then, of course, Trump himself has been, saying that he's going to fix everything. So a lot of people sat back and didn't do anything. He's placated them. Chaz Bowers, okay, you don't like Trump. That's right, I don't. I consider him a demon. He is either possessed or he's the embodiment of a demon. I'm sorry. I supported him at first. I gave him every chance I could. And he failed every test. And you better watch it, because he's going to come and devour you. It's here. It's happening. Yeah, well, his little fight with Fauci, Tennessee, I didn't see your last name. Like I said, that if that were true, why doesn't he fire him? He could fire those guys right now and then put Atlas totally in charge. But he plays the victim. Fauci is his plausible deniability. Fauci is his scapegoat. Barr is his scapegoat. Comey was his scapegoat. Nancy Pelosi is a scapegoat. Schumer. Go read in Daniel about the Antichrist, and then put that in the context of Revelation 13, and then watch what he's doing. It's exactly it. It's exactly what the Antichrist would do. Even if he's not the Antichrist, I think he is. He's at least got that spirit, and he's working it big time. He's working it big time. His whole family is a fraud. The only one I would trust at all, and I'm not sure I do anymore, is Don Jr. I'm not even sure about him now. They're all frauds. Ivanka going out and telling everybody to go get the flu shot for their infants. Almost said it. Nancy can get away with saying those words. I can't. Not to a woman. I gotta watch myself there. I don't like calling women bad names. Sometimes you just have to, though. Nothing else fits. Hillary hates everybody but herself. Oh, that's interesting. War Prophet. The movie The Devil's Advocate was shot at Trump's penthouse apartment. Who would let anybody do that, Oh, my gosh. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Trump has the ultimate swamp cabinet. Absolutely. When this thing came out about the hard drives and the computer, the laptop, Trump's known about that probably for about 2 months at a minimum. Okay? This wasn't sprung on him when you got it. He's known about it for a long time. We know that the FBI was trying to keep a lid on it. Ray and all of them, right? Barr has been keeping a lid on it. They let Epstein either get away or get killed. We're not sure. I don't think they killed him. If they killed him, nobody else would do their bidding. I think they just got him out of there. And the cadaver was definitely somebody else. Okay? He's had plastic surgery and is living somewhere else now. That's the way I look at it. The point is, they're covering all that up. Barr and Ray should have been fired the moment Trump found out about the laptop. But that didn't happen. And where's Durham? Remember, we've been saying nothing's going to happen. And then they said now it's not going to happen until after the election. And after that, we're going to get a report. A report. Kleinsmith is probably the only one that's going to go down. Strzok is teaching at, Georgetown University now? Is that where it is? Nancy would know. Professor at the university. Comey's been writing books. Strzok's writing books. Lisa Page. Where's Clapper? Where's Hayden? Where's Brennan? Etc. 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 And my Republican insider keeps saying, Roy, he's got to get back in his second term and then he can do all this stuff. The best indicator a future performance is past behavior. No. No grand fix is coming. The fix is going to be to you. You're going to be fixed so that you can buy, sell, travel, even have kids. They're going to clamp down on you, and it's right around the corner. And me. This is about culling mankind, turning us into robots, automatons, cyborgs, stealing God's DNA. You know, that junk DNA they say we have? They say, what is it? 90% of your DNA they classify as junk DNA. Well, that's just saying that's their way of saying they don't know what it is. Well, I know what it is because God told us. It's what makes us in His image, and that's what they want to destroy. Gates is involved. Gates is a devil in the flesh. All you got to do is look at that guy. You can tell he's either possessed or demonic being. It's very easy. You let him touch your kids? I thought the joke was great. You know, he couldn't even keep viruses out of his computer, his operating system. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Roy, don't have any more kids. Oh, come on. I've got great grandbabies coming out. I put one up on Twitter the other day. She's the latest. I've got so many kids I miscount and I got to think again. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 great grandkids. Hope I didn't leave somebody out. Oh, thank you, Freckles. Yeah, she really is. Actually, I got to tell you, kid. Sometimes when they're born, they look like Mr. Magoo. That doesn't usually last too long. This one, she was beautiful the moment she was born, and a lot of the others were too. It's really quite amazing. Thank you all for, beautiful baby girl. She really is. Thank you so much. I'm not sure about that, Gary Rayner. Madeline McCann walked into a UK story by Sean Stone. It makes one a little reluctant to believe anything but my seeing the light experience. I'm not sure about that one. Sorry, that one must have gotten past me. I don't keep track of everything. Sorry, especially lately. I've been spending a lot of my time, as Nancy knows. I've been spending a lot of my time getting ready for what's happening, and you can't ever be over prepared. You can't be. And so I've been doing a lot that's taken up my time away from this. So, and that's the case with you. And even Nancy said yesterday, stop arguing about who's going to fix this if they get elected. You better get yourselves ready, because no matter who gets in there, this thing's going down. It's going down. It's going to be hard enough to survive, much less try to keep them out of your business. Has God sent a delusion? J Rock. Yeah. God shall send them strong delusion that they believe a lie. I don't attribute any negative thing to God Himself. Normally what happens is that He withdraws His spirit and allows the evil spirit to enter. I don't think that when it says God will send them strong delusion, in effect that's what happens, because He withdraws His spirit and His protection. So in that regard, yeah. And so I'm a little cautious there. God Himself, though, says, right, that He created both evil and good. You can find that in the scriptures too. He says, I created evil and good. But what is evil? The absence of good. So basically, again, it's just withdrawing His spirit from something for whatever reason, usually because of something that was done. You can also look at the difference between light and dark and all that. I'm not going to get into all that esoteric stuff today. Maybe some other time. Okay. We've been going for an hour, so I'm going to let you go. Um, Trump is destroying good people and helping wicked people. That's actually true. He's destroying the wicked people that are opposing him, which is what I say, the wicked will destroy the wicked. He's going after those people that have challenged him. You wouldn't expect otherwise. But his real target is you. He is not for the American people. He is not for human life. He is not for mankind. I don't see evidence of that anymore, despite all the things that people say about all the good he's done. Like I said 4 years ago, 3.5, 3 and 3/4 years ago, what I said was, if he doesn't come down on the people in the system, once he's gone, it will be like he was never there. And he's done nothing. He's talked, and that's all he's done. I'm not going to sit here and go through it all. Go back and look at Mark Pantano and the information on illegal immigration and DACA and all of that. Go look at Nancy Morgan Hart's information. And if you want, you can go back and look at mine. I'm nowhere near as succinct as those two, however. No, I don't even follow True News, Nancy. Thanks for bringing that up. No, I don't follow True News at all. I think I finally put them. I may have actually subscribed to them out of courtesy on YouTube, and maybe on Twitter after a while. But it's been recently. But no, I don't. It's not like I sit down and follow True News every day, and there's a reason for that. Okay, I consider them not to be bad. Don't misunderstand me. I consider their focus to be too narrow. Okay, I trust in God. I believe in God. I hope I can make it. I hope I can bring my family along and all that. Be with my family. Understand. But I'm not dogmatic. I'm certainly not an evangelical. What I would say is happening is that they have enough of the Spirit, quite a bit of the Spirit, and they do enough of their own research that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall all things be established. So they're just presenting another witness, and then me talking about stuff. Like I don't sit down here and see what True News is saying and then regurgitate it. I don't know what they put out. I think the last time I saw anything on True News was somebody sent me the situation. It was about a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago when I looked at them last. Somebody sent me some information about what they were putting out, and I looked at it. I think it had to do with Trump possibly being the Antichrist. But I had come to that conclusion last summer, for those of you who follow me. So no, I'm not getting any information from True News and then respouting it to you, regurgitating it. If what you're hearing from me, I get from multiple sources, and I don't even report it exactly like I see it in the sources or comment on it. I do a decision matrix, believe it or not. It's really a complicated process. And it's like triangulation. And I try to find out, where the common grounds are of all the reporting that is going on and what the bottom line really is, or most likely is. And I'm not always right about it. Nobody is. Because, it's hard to read people's minds. It's hard to really know, for instance, what Trump is really about. But you got to watch his fruits. The key is, by their fruits you shall know them. So I look at their fruits. I hear what they say, and if it doesn't match what they're doing, I know they're lying, and I know they've got another agenda. So that's how I approach it. Okay, that's how I approach it. So no, I watch. I'll tell you who I watch religiously every day, and anybody who follows me on Twitter knows. I follow Nancy Morgan Hart every day. I do. She might not always be on the up-to-date information, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because what she has done is she's sourced it out, she's researched it, and when she puts information out, it's about as pure as it can be. I like Mark Pantano and some other of these attorneys, Legal Man, for instance, on Twitter. I like them, but they're very specific in their areas. They're pretty much talking about legal things, right? That's their genre. Me, I'm pretty much on the spiritual side, right? I mean, for the most part, I look at it that way. I mean, I'm a realist too, But my emphasis is really, how does all this affect us spiritually? That's really where I come from. And I think, and the military side, that's my area of expertise. So the spiritual side, as I've shown you, I've written books about it, I've taught it and all that, taken specialty classes, whatever. And then I have my police and military experience. So I draw from that and my contacts politically and militarily and internationally with that. Yeah. So that's my area. And then Nancy, she goes in, and it doesn't matter what the subject matter is. She can research it and pull out what's necessary. So Nancy, I follow religiously. Yeah, believe it or not. Is Nancy single? That's none of. I can't answer that. If Nancy wants to answer it, I stay out of my friends' personal lives. Okay, so if she wants to answer that, that's up to her. Okay, all right, all right. I'm done for the day. I want to thank everybody for being here. Let me experiment, make sure I've got my studio working again. And Nancy, I'll be texting you here shortly. I'm gonna throw Jeffrey Doherty off of my Twitter line, block him, and do a few other things, and then I'll. Okay, she just put up she's married. Okay, so now you know I'm not trying to. She's married. She said it right there. You see there? Headlines with a voice. Married. All right. So I'm not trying to muscle in. Okay. No, I respect her so very much. If she sees bullshit, she says bullshit. And I like that. I like that. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate you. Thank you. Oh, Jesse, you're here. Thank you for being here. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye, everybody. I hope you have a great day. And remember to keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. Yeah, I'm a one-man show again, so I got to come back here and get this thing down. Keep your situational awareness on high. Keep prepping. You should not have a day go by that you don't do something to get ready. You'll never be as ready as you need to be. But you need to take at least a small step in getting prepared every day. Buy an extra can of food. Buy an extra, bottle of water. Buy a handheld radio. Do something every single day. No matter how small it is. Okay? All right. Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll see you next time. God bless y'all.